Guys, welcome to chapter 6, and this is the concluding chapter, the last chapter for this model. And I get emotional when it comes to the end. I feel, we've come a long journey, and I hope that all of this journey has been worth it for you. And because it's worth it a lot for me, sharing the little that I know, all about the residual passive and royalties income. And I hope that helps you and helps your family so you can be on the journey. I want to be able to also see a lot of things, when you're making some progress. Message me personally, if you're trying some things and you need some advice, I'm open. I want to be able to have you guys write to me. You let me know any way that I can help you, give you advice on what you're doing. I also wanted to be able to let you know that when you get to the process of doing, there are going to be some challenges ahead. There are going to be some failures. There are going to be some mindset limitations. There are going to be some days that you feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or I should do something else. Trust me, it's normal. It happened to me too, many times, and it still happens to me almost up until tomorrow, because we're humans and we're vulnerable, and the vulnerability is part of who we are. It's not a disadvantage anymore. It's also actually an advantage as well. As long as we capture it, we master it, and we begin to be able to find ways to use it to our advantage, it will always work for us. So you are going to face challenges. You are going to face, some failures, and I hope that it might not be as much as mine. In my journey to residual income, I failed a lot. I failed a lot to a point that some people probably think my name could have been associated with failure for that period of time until I started getting it all right. Because when I got into this business, there were no mentors. In my local language from the country I'm from, there's no word, not a single word in my language or any of the other two languages that I speak that has the word residual income. None. It does not exist. I had nobody in my family that's ever made money other than making it active, exchanging their time for money in a business or in a job. Nobody else. And when I stumbled into the concept, reading Robert Kiyosaki at some point, and how one can make residual income in real estate, it started piquing my interest, and I started thinking, how can I duplicate it in other places? And then I started finding out there are people who have done this, and I started reading in a book. And then, of course, I went out there and tried to create it. And then, of course, I started hitting a lot of failures in the process of doing it. Yours might be far, far lesser than mine, but I'm just saying that you are going to have those obstacles at some point. So let me give you some of mine. So, this is not just a whole good, jolly good fellow story, all theories and stuff like that. There was one point in time that I invested in a POS company. This company, the ideology behind it is they are going to install POS machines in restaurants, in bars, in hotels and stuff like that. And every time somebody is swiping on those credit cards and debit cards on all these restaurants and all these locations, there's a percentage that comes to us. And the business model behind that is, listen, if somebody goes to a restaurant now and swipe $100, $100 is not what the owner of the restaurant gets. They probably get like about $97, $98 because there's a processing fee that the processor takes. So it's taking money away from the owner of the place every time somebody swipes, and everybody knows that. That's the standard in the world when you have a POS a machine when people swipe in your place. Now this company came up with the idea and said, you know what? Instead of the businesses paying for this for the transaction fee, why don't the consumer pay for it? We'll have it as an item on the bill. They will swipe it. If their bill is 100, we're going to charge them maybe 103, 104 as an item on the bill. And now, for the first time, owners of these restaurants or these locations don't have to pay those transaction fee. In fact, they will pay them for using their POS system. And they started installing. It was easy conversation to be able to convince someone to be able to move from paying charges to earning from the charges when you are in a restaurant. And that was the idea. So we invested money, and the returns was coming in for years and years. And I guess a bunch of people got to know about this opportunity as well, and then pumped in a lot of money to this company. This is a Canadian company. And then we woke up one morning and we found out that the company is gone. It disappeared. All of our money lost. I personally got very highly impacted by this because the income I was making from this company was almost double digit a month. that I had to tell my wife, well, there's no point you going to work. We make enough residual income for you to live really well. What's the point of you going to work? And then all of a sudden, this thing was swept off our feet. It ended up being a big scam. We're now in court. Lucky enough for us, they found this guy, they've arrested him in Canada, and we're going through the court proceeding. And all of this has happened in the last 5-7 years. I lost almost all of that in the process of trying to find residual. But then it started teaching me where to put my money and what's my risk tolerance. Would I do it again if that happened again? Of course. But I'll only put the amount of money that I can lose while I'm trying it. So when I lose it, you know what, if it's 20,000, it's okay. The good news is, for the first 2 or 3 years, we made 100% back of our money. Then we reinvested, then we made 100% back until the point that the thing doesn't work anymore. And this is Canada, very regulated market. And this was from franchise.ca, where you find information on that. That's one example. I got into the shortlet business and decided to use one of my condos that we bought for shortlets downtown, and somebody rented it through some crazy site like that, came into the place, and wrote a suicide note and jumped himself from 25th story down, and he died instantly. That was a huge mess. We had to start bothering about from insurance on how to be able to clean up the place. You remember when you have a mess of somebody scattered all around the place? It was a whole huge amount of mess. Some people would have gotten into that experience and say, well, you know what I'm getting out of a shortlet business? Oh, this is too emotionally dramatic for me. It does happen. It's part of the process. You cannot control what the outcome would be for sometimes. But this same shortlet business has done remarkably well for me and my family in the last few years. And of course, we have absolutely no regrets. Part of the challenges. I've gotten into the real estate investment before that. I bought a property in Toronto while I live in Calgary, and I rented it out. I thought I was using a property manager to be able to manage it for me. They rented out the place. The tenant was paid on time, no issues, until I got a call from my neighbor. My neighbor just called me up. Hey, what's going on? He says, Mr. Mabo, there's something happening with your house. I'm like, what's happening? He says, there's something happening with your house. Is there a way that you can investigate looking into this? Every day there are 20, 30 cars coming into your property, and people are going in and they're going out. Guess what? When we investigated, the guy that I rented the place to is a pimp. He rented the place, he pays the rent on time. He now demarcated every part of the house and then put in prostitutes in each of the room. So the prostitutes, so take for example, he rented from me for $1,500, a 4-bedroom house. He now gave that 4-bedroom house to $1,000 a month, each room, to 4 different kind of prostitutes in the same place. And now that's how he makes his own extra income. Guess what? The prostitute had a lot of men coming in. They started selling drugs to this man. It became a place where someone would come in and quickly get some few drugs. Some people will come in there and just want to, and that's exactly what it is. The regulation in Canada is, if we didn't catch that happening and the government caught it because there's drugs in there, the government would have to shut down that house for 8 to 9 months just to be able to extract the effect of the drugs or something like that. That they want to make sure that it's not harmful, so they have to shut down the entire house for 8 months. It would have cost us paying for the mortgage, the electricity, the gas, and getting it out. I had to fly down to Toronto, spend a lot of day there, threaten this guy in back and forth just to be able to get rid of him out of the house, and eventually moved out of the house. We now found somebody who was good. We rented the place and took it over. That same property, when we turned it over, we made almost 100% returns on our money. What am I talking about? Way more than 100%, maybe 200-300% on our initial capital that we invested in that same property. You understand me? But it was a lot of headache at that same time. I bought a property before that somebody woke up in the morning and got drunk and drove into the house and almost killed almost all the tenants in the place. It's happened before. I've rented a property to someone before that they've refused to pay rent for almost 6 months. And lucky enough, it happened during COVID, the beginning of COVID. The court wasn't sitting. There was no way you could take them to the court. They were living there rent-free. And every single day you're thinking, I'm using my money to be able to pay off almost all of this. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on failures of almost every other business that I've done. My ATM business, I told you guys, woke up one morning, put it in a restaurant. Somebody drove into the restaurant, picked the machine. There's only $2,000-$3,000 in the machine, broke the entire place. $150,000 worth of damage repairs just to steal a machine that has $3,000. Thank God for insurance. Insurance took care of almost all of that, and everybody's happy. But we learned a lesson. Don't put your property Don't put your ATM machine in a place that's not 24 hours, 24/7, meaning every day for 24/7, like hotels and stuff like that. We learned a lesson. The person who came in and died in one of our property, we learned a lesson. Use credible websites like Airbnb to do your business. We learned a lesson, practical lesson. The person who we rented our property from and refused to pay for 6 months, we learned a lesson. We need to do a fabulous background check on each one and every customers that we have. We learned a lesson. The person we put in money into with the POS and disappeared, we learned a lesson. The lesson we learned is if you cannot lose the money, don't go all out there and put it inside of it. We learned a lesson. Every single failure has made us stronger. Every single failure has made us bolder. Every single failure has taught us what not to do and what to do in the process of earning residual income. So it is part of the process. You are going to go through the process. And I can go on and on and on and on the challenges of the businesses that we've done. Some we've put money inside. Everything seems okay. We woke up in the morning and, something else external affected the business. I remember investing in a clothing company called Gemmy Street with three of my friends. We invested a lot of money. It was good location. Everything seems to be okay. Clothes was selling. It was this British monarch style from Gemmy Street, London. We brought the wholesale dealership to Canada. Everything seems okay. And then one day, oil prices dropped from 129 to less than 29. Nobody was buying anything anymore. We lost all the funds. Then I realized, well, the lesson learned from that is I should never invest in things that are not residual based or residual income based. At least that's not residual income based. I'm only investing in things that are residual income based. That's number one. Number two, the closer it is that anything that I invest in that's residual income based to recession proof, the better for us. Get closer to recession proof. Get closer to recession proof. So economy goes down, goes up, it doesn't really affect you. This is the art of building a portfolio, a sizable, good portfolio of residual income. It's the heart. There's no science around it. You cannot calculate it and say this is what the outcome will be all the time. But the heart, the more you get involved in the heart, you learn, you refine yourself, you ask questions from those who are experienced, you get back in the market, you learn. That's the more that you get the freedom. My wife had never worked a day since she was 33. All she does is the things that she loves to be able to do. I haven't worked a day since the day I was 35. I still work, but I do the things that I like to do without having to wake up in the morning and go to some job since I was 35. We've traveled all over the world. My son has probably traveled more countries than most adults have done in their entire life. He's been in 5 continents and multiple countries in those 5 continents. And he was only 5 as at that time. He's 6 now. The point I'm making is the reward at the long run is worth it. It's worth it. Waking up on the Monday morning and deciding you want to golf, or you just want to go to the gym, or you just want to watch TV. It's worth it. Waking up in the morning and just say, I just want to go spend 1 month in so-so place. It's worth it. Being able to spend time with your family and be a stay-home dad, it's worth it. Being able to spend more time in your church or your mosque or your religious belief is worth it. Being able to do more charitable work is worth it. Being able to do the things that you love the most is worth it. If it's music, go do it. Being able to spend time with your children is worth it. So if it's worth it, it means that we need to be able to roll up our sleeves and pay the sacrifice for it. And I'm saying to you, in your journey of residual income, expect to fail. There's nothing wrong with it. Failure is part of the success story. Enjoy it. And as you're getting the process, be careful as well. If you know that it's getting to a point where it's going to give you a sleepless night, if you lose the money, don't get into it. So start small, start gradual. Believe it's going to be better. And we're going to work with you at every point in time to make sure that you find success in there. I'll see you guys soon in the book. Sweat in the Middle, New York Best Time Seller. Let's do this thing.